Hey, what's up, addicts out there? Thanks so much for tuning in to another addictive fishing tutorial. As you can see, we're in the same clothes because we just got done showing you some anchor fishing techniques.
We did.
We figured we'd take this as a great opportunity to get out here and talk plunking. I know there's a lot of you addicts out there that are fishing from the bank. You want to know how to get out on the bank and catch these fish, and so we're going to tackle it right now and talk about all these different summer steelhead techniques that we can do from the bank.
For sure. First thing I want to talk about, guys, is rod holder placement. So there's a different, different style for everything. I like my rod holder to be at about a 45-degree angle, so that way when I cast all my stuff out there, my rod tip to my weight is at a 45, lays everything out perfect, keeps everything somewhat close to the bottom. If your rod holder's sticking straight up in the air, your stuff's coming straight off the bottom, and these steelhead, they're within 2 feet of the bottom. So having this rod holder at a 45 allows your stuff to kind of be more spread out across the bottom. So that's why I like the 45-degree angle. And you want to bury the butt of the rod holder in the sand about 8 to 10 inches, so that way when you do get a takedown, the pole doesn't fall down with the rod holder. So 8 to 10 inches, 45-degree angle, that's kind of what I've dialed in to be most successful out here.
And there's a million different styles of these rod holders. I've seen so many people you can just cut a piece of PVC pipe off, put a, like the screw through it. There's all different. If you can't find a rod holder, use a stick. You can use whatever you can.
Yes.
One thing I will want you to note though is there's times that sometimes these takedowns are savage. So make sure whatever you use, that your rod is pretty secured into whatever you're holding it into.
Exactly, yeah, just make sure it's really buried solid in there. Give it a good tug, make sure it's not gonna fall over, because last thing you wanna do is get just a wicked takedown and have your rod go skip, skip, skip right in the water. That'll ruin anybody's
And I've seen it happen.
all the time, yes. So bury it in the sand good, give it a good shake, and it should be solid.
So let's talk rod, reel, line. What are we doing here?
So what I like to do here, guys, is since we have a pretty long setup, I like to use a 10.5-foot rod. Personally, you can get away with 8, 9, 10. I like the 10.5 because when you're casting everything out there, it's good to have that longer rod to keep everything out of the sand as you cast. And obviously, we're using, a pretty heavy lead, so that longer rod helps you do a nice lobbing cast, everything doesn't get tangled in. So I prefer the Okuma Guide Select Classic in the 10.6. And then what I like to do is have the cold water Okuma Low Pro with 50-pound braid. The nice thing about this 50-pound braid is it's super durable, lasts a long time, and it's really thin diameter.
So I know on the classics they make a couple of what weight 10.6 do you like? Do you like the 1060?
The 1062 heavy.
1062
I like the 1062 heavy. They have the extra heavy, which would work ideal if I was using 10, 12, 16 ounces. But casting from the shore like this, I can get away with 6 or 8.
Yeah, so the heavy would be good for like wobbler fishing.
Exactly, something where you're using a lot of lead, a lot of heavy gear, as in wobblers, like you just said.
Cool.
Then kind of going down to the business in here, guys. Show you how I like to run my setup. So I have my main line, and on my main line I have an 8mm bead. Color doesn't matter. This is just used to have as the stopper on our dual lock snap when we slide our plug down, which I'll go over that here in a little while. So bead to a barrel swivel to 3 feet of 40-pound mono, and that way when we do slide our plug down, the plug stops up here. It can't get tangled with our middle spinning gland. So 3 feet of 40-pound down to a Brad's bead chain. And then what I like to do is, on that bead chain, use a snap swivel and snap in between that bead chain. You have to be careful, guys, when you're doing this to buy the right size swivel so that it doesn't slide over the top. So that's the key here, is getting the right size swivel in there, just like that. And so I've done this for many years, and I've developed this kind of technique. I started out with spreader bars and all sorts of like scent chambers hanging off here and there. This tangles up the very least. You're still gonna get tangles, but having this swivel sliding on that bead chain like that, this thing can rotate 360 degrees in any direction and not get tangled. So going down from the bead chain, I do 2 feet of 40-pound mono to my spreader bar, which I have my weight on. So casting from the shore like this, guys, you have to watch the current, but I can generally get away with about 6 ounces of lead. If the current's really ripping and I'm trying to cast out a little bit further to a ledge, then I'll bump up to an 8, but usually 6 holds well. And then I have my bottom spinning glow coming off of that. And all my spinning glow leaders here, they're 20 inches. 20 inches of 20-pound mono to my spinning glow, 3 little beads, and my size 2/0 hook.
So what size spinning glow? Do you like smaller ones? Do you like bigger ones? What do you prefer?
I like the little bit larger ones. I think this is a size 4. You know, I know a lot of guys like running 6s, but I definitely seem like these size 4s, you know, have worked the best for me in the past. Not to say that, you know, you can't catch them on 2s or 6s or 8s, but these 4s.
Yeah, I think I use the next size down.
Yeah, I think you use the 6s.
Yeah.
I like these. They're a little bit more buoyant, so I can use a little larger coon shrimp. And like I said, there's a million ways to do it. You catch them on 6s, I catch them on 4s. There's probably a lot of people that catch them on double aughts.
Yeah, what do you guys, all you addicts out there, what's your favorite spin glow size, preference, color? Comment below. We want to hear what you guys think as far as like spin glow size and color. It'd be interesting to know what all you addicts are using out there.
There's a million color combinations with silver wings and white wings and black wings. I always do well on the black wings, so that's why I run them. But like I said, a million different colors to choose from, so go out and give it a shot. But the black wings, anything kind of pink, peachy, green, seems to work real well. So now I'm going to show you guys how to rig up a coon shrimp onto our spinning glow.
Quickly before you, which actually you're probably going to cover that, but this is a bait loop, right?
That is bait loop.
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
And we'll show you guys that with the coon shrimp, why he's tied that on a bait loop.
That is a bait loop, correct.
Cool, let's talk about these coonies.
Let's do it. All right, guys, so we definitely prefer our millennial coon shrimp. They hold up really well. The nice thing about them is they don't stain your hands, so you don't go home with a bunch of pink fingers. You don't have to wear gloves. They also have a really good scent to them, and Steelhead really seem to love them. So one thing I want to talk about real quick, guys, before I do this is selecting the size of coon shrimp for your spinning glow. You don't want to have a massive coon shrimp. You don't want a little bitty one. You kind of want to pick an average size. And Bill at Millennial Coon Shrimp has done a really good job of having a good quality product. So most of these coon shrimp are that perfect size. So what I like to do here, guys, is select one that has all of its antenna, nice size. So what I like to do is I'll take my hook, I'll connect the meat of the tail to the meat of the head, and I'll have it just off center because I want that coon shrimp to have a little bit of a kick to it in the current. You want to be real gentle while you're doing this, guys. Run it down there just like so. And then you can take this egg loop, put that egg loop right around the tail, just like that. Helps it stay on there. Then the reason we use those little stacker beads is to keep the spinning glow body and the wings away from the coon shrimp, so that way the wings can spin and not hit the body of the coon shrimp, just like that.
And so when you're picking your coon shrimp, do you prefer like a smaller coon shrimp? Do you prefer a bigger one? Like, what's your preference?
I prefer a little bit smaller one because, you know, throughout the day, the currents, the waves, I don't want the coon shrimp to weigh the spinning glow down. So I would rather have a little bit smaller than versus bigger, for sure.
So what do you guys like? Do you guys like a smaller coon shrimp, like a bigger coon shrimp? I know a lot of people too will talk about laying the tails out, you know, actually laying the tail out so it's flat. You know, I'm sure you've seen that, Eric.
Absolutely.
Do you guys prefer that method, or do you like the way Eric's done it? I've typically done it this way just for ease. A lot of times it's fast and furious when you're plunking for these steelhead. A lot of times it can be really good, and so it's important just to get your bait in the water, and I haven't seen it really make that much of a difference. This seems to fish really well.
It does. So you have your setup, guys, kind of looking like so. And what we'll do is we'll cast this setup out there, and casting it, guys, can be the most difficult if you haven't done it a whole lot, because this is a lot of stuff getting casted out there. So you have to be really careful and not give it a short, sharp cast, because you'll rip your coon shrimp off, you'll get them tangled. So I'll show you guys right now how I like to cast it. So one thing you guys want to make sure and do is zero your line counter before you cast. And what we'll do is, if you cast it out there and it's at 60, 70, 80 feet, and you catch a fish, you want to try and cast back to that same area, get on that same ledge where that fish was running.
It's probably got little friends with him.
Right. Because where there's one, there's probably two. So, what do you guys want to do?
Or three.
Do a nice, or 6, or a dozen. Do a nice, short, lobbing cast. And as you can see, everything laid out perfectly. And when you do a lobbing short cast like that, what'll happen is everything will be in the air and you can see it all hit the water. If you do one of these like short, sharp casts, everything just zips past. You can't tell if it's tangled. So long, lobbing, short casts like that will be perfect every single time.
So now what are you doing? Once you get it casted out there, what are you doing in the rod holder?
So now what I want to do, guys, is I want to stick in the rod holder, just like so. And then...
Do you let a little line out before you do that though, or do you just...
What I like to do is I like to drag it just a little bit, help get that weight and everything set. So by dragging it, I think everything lays out nicely and it's fishing properly. Cool. Yep. So the next thing, guys, is remember how we had that bumper bead up on the very top, on our main line, well, that's to stop our snap swivel, or our dual lock, excuse me, from sliding down and getting tangled with our gear. But before I slide this mag lip down, I want to add some scent to it. So I'm a big fan of this Procure Anise Krill Super Gel. And you guys don't have to overdo this, just a little dab, about like that will do. Take it, smear it on there just like that. And one thing I found, guys, is if you start smearing this stuff all over the place, what'll happen is those steelhead will come up and grab this thing, and this stuff is gel, right? So it's pretty you know, slippery. Yeah. And those steelhead will come up and grab it, and they'll slide their teeth off the plug before they can get a hook. So I try and keep the gel to a minimum. Yeah, and if you guys want to see more about what Eric's talking about, here's a link right up here. You guys can click on this. He did a video talking more in depth about plug fishing. Absolutely. So once I have it applied on there like that, it's ready to fish. But one thing you guys have to remember is we can only use 3 hooks per rod here in Oregon and Washington. So you guys will have to make sure and remove that belly hook off your mag lip. Just check your regs. Yep. Make sure you're fishing the amount of hooks that you're able to. Correct, yep. So the leader I have here, guys, is 30 inches. So from the top bead down to my middle spin and glow is 36 inches. So this being 30 inches helps keep everything spaced out. So once I have my rod cast out here, guys, what I'll do, loop it over like that. Put your dual lock on there. Snap it shut. And then what I like to do is walk up towards the tip of the rod. Slide it on out there. And since it's really windy today, guys, it's gonna be a little bit of a pain, but you can get it down there, get it in the current, then slowly walk upstream. You can get that plug to dive down. What you guys want to do is spend a couple minutes doing this, ensure that that plug is slid all the way down to that bead where those fish are going to be traveling at. So lower your rod to the tip of the water. Don't be afraid to walk upstream a little bit too, guys. Just really wiggle that plug down. And you can feel it catch the current. And when you guys are wiggling, you don't want to wiggle it too fast and rip all your coon shrimp off your spinning reels. Like I said, guys, give it a couple minutes. You really want to ensure that that mag lip has slid down all the way. Now that I'm pretty sure that my mag lip is down, what I like to do here is walk back. Then put your rod in the rod holder. And what I like to do, guys, is I like to have a pretty good bend in the tip of my rod. So kind of crank it down, and you can kind of get to a sweet spot to where you're just tight enough and then your lead drags. So I like to kind of crank it down just like that. Take a mental note of what I'm at the line counter. I'm at 57, so if I happen to catch a fish, I know I want to get back in that 57 range. So the next step, guys, is always have a bell, because we're on the bank, you go use the bathroom, barbecue, doing whatever. You want to have a good bell in your pool. Wait, real quick, watch this, we'll get Charles. Oh, never ever do that if you're a plunker, because don't mess with your friends. Don't mess with your friends, because then it just becomes this battle on the beach. So anyways, guys, have a good quality bell. You know, I like mine to be in the top third of the rod, so that way when you're getting a takedown, that sucker's really jingling and getting attention. Yeah. You want to make sure you get it on there good too, because a lot of times the fish will hit it so good that it'll just fall right off, and then you'll be sitting there getting a takedown, you won't even know it. You'll be up there chatting with your buddies and you're getting a fish. So yeah, good quality bell, top third of the rod. Make sure you have a good bend to it, and on some of the better outgoing tides, you can see that plug shaking. So other than that, that's how I like to run my setup from the bank for summer steelhead. Sweet. So do you ever, is there any scenarios where you wouldn't run like 3 spin glows, or maybe you wouldn't run the plug? Is there scenarios where you feel like it would just fish better with 2 spin glows? Or yes, yeah. So when there's a lot of weeds and debris in the water, which often happens in the summertime, the water temperatures rise, the algae, and then the grass starts really growing. So if we do get a lot of grass in the water, I'll take that plug off, because that thing will just sit up there and just collect lots of grass. You'll just fish the spin glows. Just fish the spin glows, correct. Cool. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. We hope you learned a bunch. Please comment below. Let us know what videos you want to hear next, what videos you want to see next. We can get Eric out on the water. You good trips coming up? Absolutely. So I have summer steelhead, summer walleye, and then fall chinook. We're supposed to have a huge coho run. So if you guys want to get on the water with me, you can go to my website. It's ericswansonoutdoors.com. There's a little book a trip tab. Fill it out. It sends an email directly to my phone. I'll give you a call. We can set up a trip. So if you guys want to get on the water, get a hold of me.
Sweet. We'll put the link for Eric's website down in the link description. You guys will see it right at the top. Thanks so much for tuning in. Do not forget, please tap that subscribe button down here in the corner. Help us keep reaching our goals of getting more and more subscribers so we can keep teaching fishing to the world. And we'll see you on the river.
See you guys on the water.